call the meeting to order at 5 p.m. Everybody please stand for the flag salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call. Let the record reflect that Mrs. Castaneda and Mr. Chong are absent and everybody else is present. Approval of agenda. It's recommended the governing board approve the agenda of March 28, 2022 governing board meeting. Do I have a motion?
I'll motion.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Ms. Long. All in favor?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Motion passes 3-0-2. Is there abstaining? Hearing session. The audience members may request to address the board on an item on the agenda per board bylaws 9323. Individual speakers shall be allowed 3 minutes to address the governing board on each agenda item. The board limits to total time for public input to 20 minutes. Total time allowed for public comment shall be 30 minutes. Audience members wishing to address the board during the hearing session of the agenda should fill out a request to address a governing board form and turn it into the executive assistant prior to board holding the hearing session. Dr. Miramontes.
We have no public comments.
All right, thank you. Moving on to governing board comments. Mrs. Shedd.
Okay, thank you. Well, I hope everybody enjoyed some rest during the spring break and time with their families. I did. That was just rejuvenating for me. And I actually got to spend some extra time with my grandbaby, so that was really rejuvenating for me. Right before spring break, I was able to go to Whitaker, and I saw great evidence of the TV effect on the writers' workshop, from the writers' workshop and the reading workshop. The children, even in TK, were writing their own stories, and it was amazing to see the ownership they took of them, and they were reading them so proudly. And it was exciting to see, and the correction process was also amazing. And reading, we saw some great phonemic awareness instruction. They were very specific, and I loved how it was. They just did everything, and they used a lot of hand motions with what they were doing, which helps, especially for younger children, because the more modalities you can use, the better it gets into your brain. So they were saying it, they were signing it, they were doing all kinds of things with it. Doing it backwards, deleting parts, and it was just exciting. And as we got to the older kids, I saw what a difference it made. The teachers had them so, how can I say, their procedure was so tight. I'll say it, I use that word, because as they were doing small groups, the children were doing independent reading, and they had their own choices of books, and you saw that they were really focused on what they were doing. I happened to be walking behind a little boy who was struggling with his reading. The words he knew, he read them very quickly, but the words that he didn't know, he was struggling on how to put them together. And I said, oh gosh, I don't know if he's new to our district or what. I said, he could have been in that TK class, but they were just ramming off the sounds, and the phonemic awareness was so fantastic. And, that's just what our kids need. So I'm glad to see that they're getting it. We make such a big difference. And that's all I did over break. So thank you.
Thank you, Shedd. Ms. Ahmad.
Yes, I was on that same tour to Whitaker. I really enjoyed it. I want to thank Principal Williamson. It was evident, everything that Ms. Shedd said, but I also loved seeing the aspect of just the emotional. There was lots of storytelling going on, whether it was from the staff or the students, lots of conversations. And it was just so nice to see that aspect of it where, we're working on all, they're not just getting the academic part, but also a lot of the social emotional part, lots of conversations and how do you feel and how does that make you feel? And that's just really important right now in these times. I also had a busy spring break with the kids, but I was able to pass by Emory yesterday and I saw the crews working on the playground, which already looks like, they're working really hard and really fast. So that was great to see. And lots of the parents are very excited once they saw that. I think a lot of times not everyone reads everything, but when they see the crews working, they're like, oh, wow, we're getting a new playground. I'm like, well, they kind of been saying it for a while, but so it's always exciting when the parents are like, wow, like our district's getting us new playgrounds for our kids. So so happy that we're able to do that, and all the schools will have their turn as well right after. That's it for me.
Great. Thanks, Mark. Welcome, everyone. Hopefully, everybody had a good spring break. I know I did, a little busy. I did have the opportunity to spend some time at our local parks. I was over at Bellis Park and over at Rigomas Park. I was able to take my daughters there, but in the process, I was able to connect with the community and also with some of our families and our students that go to our schools, which is really neat. For me, it's really neat to connect with, those parents, connect with those students, because I can connect with them as a parent, but also my daughters can also relate to them. They're in the same school, same class, same setting. And it's another opportunity for them to see each other outside of the classroom, being out in public and hanging out with each other. So that was neat for me. So I was there Monday and also on Thursday in the evening. And it was just fun for me overall. Also, I do want to thank everybody here at the district for all their hard work that they continue to do day in, day out. All of our teachers, our staff, our classified, everybody's doing a magnificent job with everything that they're doing. Also want to thank our, board for everything that they do too as well. I appreciate everything that you guys do day in, day out, taking time away from your guys' families to be here and, serve our communities in the best possible way. So thank you for that. Other than that, hopefully everybody's doing well, staying healthy and safe. And I'll pass it over to Dr. Miramontes for his comments.
Thank you, President Frutos. Just three things I want to talk about. One, I hope that our families had a nice time off, our staff and our students. Hope that they enjoyed their week off and were able to rest up and hit the next 8 weeks, 9 weeks, super hard and finish strong. I also want to thank those that stayed back and worked. Many of them that are here in the audience, right, that stayed. And so to run a district, you've got to have people like this, at the district office working, throughout the week to make sure that we're ready for when students come back and when staff come back. So thank you to our staff members that are here at the district office. And then I want to thank the board for tonight's special meeting, a handbook that will guide not only our boards now, but our future boards to come into. I do want to thank Angelina Pride from CSBA, who's our consultant working with us. It should be an interesting evening, but again, the more we grow, the better we grow. The more our district grows, the better our district grows. So thank you, and that concludes my comments.
Thank you, Dr. Miramontes. Moving on to governing board study session workshop. In a study session format, the board will participate in a workshop facilitated by Angelina Pride from California School Board Association, CSBA, to create and develop a governance handbook. Dr. Miramontes.
Yeah, we've got it set up. I want to thank Aaron McPhillips, who helped set up and has been in contact with Angelina Pride. I think everybody had homework. They were supposed to bring back the homework, and everybody's expecting to contribute tonight. So we might as well head on. For those that are watching us online, all you're going to see is a governance handbook workshop page, so that, but you'll be able to hear us through the microphone. So I'll step over to the table and start our study session. Thank you. fishbowl effect here, right? Got a little audience watching us, or listening at home.
Well, good evening, everybody. I have to tell you all that I am very excited to be back with you, working with your district again. I found my time with you in November to be time very well spent, and I have found each one of you to be definitely hardworking and committed trustees to making sure that student success and achievement stays at the forefront of all of your decisions that you make for your students. And that was very refreshing. And I just want to commend you for that, and again, say that I'm very happy and excited to be back working with all of you on this project. So next slide. So before we get started, I want to remind each of you that trust is the result of respect and understanding, not agreement. As we go through this process this evening, I want you to remember to trust one another, to assume positive intent, because while we will agree, you will agree on some things, there will be discussion on others as to whether they have a place in the governance handbook or not. But I just want everyone to listen to one another and respect one another's thoughts, and that'll help get us through the process. And I don't anticipate that being an issue here at all tonight. Next slide. And also, while we develop your handbook, please remember that everyone works differently. We think differently, we process information differently, we see things through different lenses, and we even see things sometimes through our generational standpoint. But it's those differences that make us work so well together, and those differing thoughts and opinions that will make you a well-rounded board member and will help us to have the most effective governance handbook that represents each and every trustee. Next slide. As we develop your handbook, I just wanted to go through some of the things that we talked about last time. So that's just to get a refresher and make sure that we're all still on the same page. And so I just want to do a quick review. The first one on understanding your roles as a board member, because remember, and you can hit it again in the lines, yes, that you are the what, meaning you are the ones who come up with the processes that you would like to see. You vote on them, you provide direction, and then the district, Dr. Miramontes and his staff are the how, and they are the ones who implement it, and all these wonderful people that are here with supporting you this evening, they're the ones who do the implementation. But there is that small green point, remember, in the middle where we do strategic goals and success indicators, and that's where everyone has a hand in it. But you are the yellow, which is the what, the district staff and administration, they're the blue, which is the how, and then in that green, you come together to set goals for the district. Right. And then just again, just a reminder, I gave you the same sheet that I gave you at the previous meeting, where we talk about what the role of the school board member is versus what the role of the superintendent is. And you guys can look at this again on your own time, but as we go forward with the governance handbook, we may refer back to this, but again, you guys are the what and they are the how. Next slide. I definitely want to address this slide again about being unified but not uniform. As I stated initially, to assume positive intent and trust one another through this process of developing the handbook, because even when you don't agree in theory, you will support the final product of this governance handbook. Everyone will sign it, and you will approve it and adopt it at your board meeting so that it is official. So even if there's something in there that you still think, man, I really wish we hadn't put that in there, I just don't see the point. Remember to remain unified as a board, to still support it, to still adhere to it, and to still acknowledge that that is what the majority decided should go into the handbook. So you don't have to agree all the time, but you do have to come together and support. Next slide. And then again, being an effective school board, that's part of the reason why we do this whole governance handbook and why we recommend that every district has one. Because being an effective school board member is more than just showing up to the meetings or going out to visit a school. It's putting in the hard work. It's the commitment to the visions and the mission of the district. It's the, collaborative relationships that you have with the staff and with your community. It's looking at the data that's provided to you by the superintendent and staff and using that to make your decisions as you move forward. And then also, it's participating in workshops like this, and like when we did the board self-evaluation as well, and looking at what are we doing, how are we performing? Because again, it's not just the superintendent that needs to be evaluated, but as a board, there's also an evaluation process that needs to take place there, and you guys did that, and it was wonderful. And also, accountability driven by spending less time on operational issues and focusing again on student success and achievement. And this governance handbook lays out norms and protocols that will help not just you, not just this board of 5, but future boards to do the same thing. It will be a guiding tool and a resource for all that are interested, that become board members, and all of the staff that are interested in knowing what the board does and how the board should present themselves in certain situations. All of that will be here in the governance handbook. Next slide. So we look at the norms and protocols, which will be something that we'll put into the governance handbook. So just a quick review about the norms and protocols. These norms and protocols are there to state, how do we want to be perceived by our community? When they look at how you run your meetings, when they look at how you handle yourself in public, when they look at how you work with one another. Norms and protocols that we develop tonight will shed some light on that. And then how should we act towards each other? As I was telling Trustee Sheet, I was very happy to come and work with your district. I've been very busy lately and had some very challenging districts that I worked with that had a lot of internal issues that needed to be worked out. And the public sees that. And it's unfortunate when they do, because when they do, then they lose trust in the trustees. And they lose trust in the district. And we don't want that to happen because each one of you were elected to do a job. And so you have to come together, put differences aside, and do what's best for the students in your district. So that's another reason why we have the norms and the protocols in the handbook. And then what the norms and protocols also do is to maintain an effective governance system, meaning that everything that's in here that we sign our names to this handbook means that we agree to adhere to them. We agree that if we put in here that, we're going to make sure that we come to our meetings prepared, that's something that you agree that you will do, and now you have to do it. Just like we want our students to do what the teacher tells them to do with their assignments and look at their handbooks, their textbooks, and do the work as laid out, this is yours. Okay, next slide, please. So what are norms? They're a pattern, especially of social behavior, and that's expected from a group. But the important thing about the norms is that they build trust among the group. They provide order and consistency because that way everybody's not doing their own thing and interpreting things their own way. We have an interpretation that we've agreed upon. They reinforce commitment to unity, and they can minimize conflict and actually really minimize misunderstandings among board members because everything is laid out there. Next slide. And I just always put this slide in there just as a reminder. This is like an example of what we might put into our handbook as one of our norms about confidentiality. because we have to remember that's something that we are responsible for and we need to maintain. Next slide. And then we talk about protocols. And protocols, you know, those are a living agreement, and your governance handbook is a living document. So protocols are going to change depending upon circumstances, depending upon what's going on in your district. During COVID, I was board president when COVID hit, and I know that at that time, my role as a board president actually expanded a little bit because I had to help the superintendent to get the word out. I had to be a stronger voice for the district than what a board president normally is. It's just usually the superintendent, the PIO, and then the board president will chime in. But I had to really step up and help her out to make sure that everyone was receiving the same information. We did lots of information sessions and things like that. So it's important that we know that sometimes these are going to change depending upon the circumstances that are taking place in our district at a particular time. And protocols are important for a lot of reasons. And again, they build an effective governance team. It helps you guys stay aligned with how you perform and how you handle your tasks. It also empowers the board, though, to govern because it lays out everything that you should be doing as a board member. And so there's no questions or second guessing. Should I be doing this? Should I not be doing that? And then this is the one that's really key, is it helps new board members to become effective board members. When I first went onto my board, there was nothing. We were not offered any training. We were just told, here's your packet, meeting is this week, you look at all of this and be ready to vote. Luckily, I had attended lots of board meetings prior to running, so I had an idea of what to do, but not like how to interact with my team and what my role was. I didn't fully understand what the role of a board member was because it looks different when you're sitting in the audience versus when you're sitting on the dais. So if I had had a governance handbook back then, it would have really helped me. It wasn't until I went to the CSBA conference and started talking to people and meeting people and going to some of the workshops that I started to get an idea. And then finally, when we had an interim superintendent come in, I was able to go to MIG, and that's where I really learned what I should and should not be doing. And I realized, Masters in Governance, sorry. We were talking about that the other day, the acronyms for everything. But it's important that we have a tool that when new people come on the board, that they can immediately get this because our board reorganizations are always in December. And then it's such a quick turnaround. Yeah, you're sworn in, there's a meeting, then there's break, and it's like, okay, now what am I supposed to be doing? They could be looking at their governance handbook over break. They could be learning what the norms and protocols are set for. They could be making notes to themselves for questions that they have that they'd like to present to the board or superintendent to ask questions about their role. So this is going to be very helpful. And then it also keeps us out of trouble because we don't make mistakes, or at least not as many mistakes. And it helps us to stay focused on student learning and achievement. Next slide. But this is the most important. This handbook will always make sure that we collaborate and that we work as a team because that's the only way that we can get everything done. So with that said, we're going to get into the governance handbook. And again, as I've been saying, this governance handbook, it's not going to make you a perfect board, but it will give you future boards a reference to refer to when needed. It'll guide each of you to the point of to being a successful board member, and it will give future board members a starting point on how to be part of an effective governance team. But most importantly, you have to realize that your governance handbook is a living document. This is not going to stay forever like what we come up with tonight. It will not stay like this for long. You're in an election year. And I don't know, and I won't ask who's running again, but I know you have 3 members up for re-election. And if those 3 members are reelected and come back, you guys may say, the governance handbook is fine, our board is the same, we're fine, we're good. If something should change and new board members should come in, they may have new ideas or new questions. And that's when you have to revisit this governance handbook again to make sure that this is still what we want to do as a board. This is still the commitment that we're making as a board. They may feel something was left out, or you all may think of things that, even though you've done this after being, living with it for 6, 7 months, you may say, you know what, we should have put this in the governance handbook. And you can do that. It's okay, because this is a living document, and it should be changed, and it should be updated. Because as times change and as the board changes, and there's going to be things that you're going to want to look at differently. So just know that it is not carved in stone. This is yours, and you can manage it as you see fit. Your board bylaws, those will also be at the end of the governance handbook, just as a general reference of the 9,000s and the 9,200s, because those are the board bylaws that apply most to you as trustees. And so it's an easy sheet to just look at and say, hey, I have a question about the rotation process or the reorganization of the board. You can go to your governance handbook, look in the back, that's board policy 90, whatever. And then you can just go online, click on that one, and read all about it. And that's very, very helpful. And then finally, I just want you to remember that there's never been a successful board member, only an unsuccessful board. Because you guys are a team. So if that boat goes down, everybody goes down with it. They may think that they are not, they think that they're safe, but pretty soon the water is going to take over and everybody drowns. So we have to work together, and we have to make sure that we're doing our due diligence and fighting for the students in our district. So we're going to put this one aside for now, and we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of our governance handbook. So I hope that you all did your homework. Yes, and I do have trustees Castaneda.
Correct.
Yeah, I have hers. Thank you. So what I did was, I put together a standard boilerplate governance handbook for you. I plugged in some of the basic norms and protocols, some of the basic information from your district's website and from your mission and vision statement. And then I figure what we'll do is we'll go through them as a governance team. You all would tell me what you like, what you don't like, make suggestions, things that you feel I missed, and we will add everything in until we have a final product. And Erin has been so gracious to help us as we go along. And then what, after this evening, then what I'll do is make it look pretty and then send it back to Erin, and then the board will take it and they'll put it on the agenda. They'll adopt it. They will all sign it, and then that will become official. Okay, so any questions about the process? And this is where it's on the 3 of you. So you all will have to speak up. I will just guide the conversation, but you all have to speak up and say what you like and what you don't like, or what you think is missing, or what you think we have too much of. And we'll change it from there. And I have plenty of other board norms and protocols from other handbooks that I've done. I bring them with me just so if somebody says, well, we need a norm or a protocol about this, I'm sure I have one that I can suggest. So let's start on page 1 with your preamble. And this is just from your page. Are you all okay, from your website? Are you all okay with having this as the first page in your governance handbook?
I am.
Okay, so we're good there. The table of contents, of course, I will do that once everything is done. So this one is a given. It's just we can't do that until we finalize everything. I have to say, as I was, I went online to pull your mission and vision statement, and when I saw this district heritage, I thought that this was really neat, and that's why I included it. You don't really see this much in school districts, where there's some information about the district, like this. And I thought it was important that it's there, because if I'm somebody from the outside and I look at your governance handbook, this would tell me a lot about your district. If I'm a new trustee, this would tell me more information about the district. So that's why I put this in here, but it's up to you. Are you guys okay? Yes?
I
No?
liked it.
I like it too, because it gives us it gives, somebody that doesn't know or would want to know more about our district, there's a briefing there for them to understand what we're all about, so I like it.
And may I ask who put this together?
This is actually part of the website that was there, we just carried it over in the
Yeah.
past for years.
Been there for years?
One of the things, we have updated some of the things here and there.
Mhm.
Yeah, so some of the things we've added to it. One of the things I'd like to recommend is, it's in the second paragraph,
Uh-huh.
on the right-hand side where it says ACES.
Oh, uh-huh.
After-school program called, through ACES. I'd also like to include, and the Expanded Learning Opportunity Program, which is a new funding piece that part of our, program as well. So, add that, and that'd be fantastic. No, it's for one for every student. One for every. 1-to-1.
Yeah.
1-to-1, yeah, 1-to-1 device.
It's 1-to-1?
Yeah.
And you all, are good with this, trustees?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
As we're talking about modernization, I was wondering, have we done enough to our ventilation system to include that as upgraded or not?
To our what? I'm sorry.
To our ventilation system, I'm just thinking about,
Like
I know we.
HVAC, like the HVAC systems and stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah, we continue to upgrade, our HVAC systems. We just picked up the last, grant for, gosh, what was it called, Mike? CalShape, so we're gonna be upgrading the systems. So every opportunity we have to continue to upgrade. Now, they're not all at one time. We have a, I forget what Prop it was, Prop 59, where we actually had a study, and we looked at which ones were the red, yellow, green things that we need to clean up. We need to clean up the red right now. Yellow, we can wait a couple of years, and then green, we were okay. So we're working through that color-coded system.
Mhm.
So it's an ongoing process,
Mhm.
that we continue to work through, but the CalShape will help us out this next summer. And then we're also using, I believe, Sandy, we're also using some one-time dollars for, ventilation systems as well, correct?
Yes,
So,
once we receive the,
shit,
we knew
correct.
what was left to do with those dollars.
We
So that's
partnered
all
on
in
that.
progress.
Let me ask a question while we're looking at this statement, and I'm glad you brought that up. Seeing as where we've been for the last 2 years, is there anything else that you feel needs to be, updated in this statement of things that you've done or new things that you had to put in place during COVID that now you've decided to keep them going because they were beneficial to the district? And there was an impact, a strong impact?
I think the one where every school has unique focus, and there is a unique focus in our own school system. Also, things that we have done this last year or since COVID, to the wellness
Okay.
piece with our physical education teachers, which does a couple of double duties. One is it provides organized opportunities for students to, well, through in physical, outside, right now.
Mm.
But it also provides some intervention time for small group intervention for second grade students. And beyond that, so one would be the wellness, but the other piece is social emotional learning, where their teachers providing, the first tier of social emotional learning, and then the counselors being that second support. And I should say first support, it really comes to just connecting the kids. Our counselors aren't waiting till the kids are they're connecting with kids each day. So those might be the two things that I would include: social emotional learning and the wellness.
Mhm.
Because we can put that in, let me see, that part is focus with
So maybe right after,
physical education.
well, resources available for Winter Park students and families. Because, again, when you go, we talk about wellness, care solace. Care
Oh,
solace.
so in the third,
Yeah,
the
that
fourth
third
paragraph,
yeah, 'cause we
fourth
also provide
paragraph.
Support for our families, that there's resources in the community that they could tap into.
Would you guys like to put, many resources are available, and I'm in the fourth paragraph, first
Yep.
sentence. Many resources are available for our Baldwin Park School District students and families, including but not limited to,
Social, emotional, and wellness programs, sure.
so including but not limited to the social emotional learning.
On topic of health, are we able to, include our safety team? Because we've been reshaping that since the beginning, off in different ways to everybody. Can that be added on there?
Can you tell me a little bit about what it does?
Well, I was gonna say, did you finish the wellness part?
No.
Let her-
Okay, so we have, many resources are available for our BPSD students and families, including but not limited to social emotional learning, and I'm sorry, Dr. Miramontes, what was the last part?
And wellness,
And wellness. And wellness services?
sure.
Okay,
Okay, so now-
thank you.
Sorry for the
Now-
interruption.
No worries, tell me what the team does.
So they provide assistance to like the health clerks. They're testing more, every time, a new resurgence of COVID is happening. We're either getting more staff or getting more personnel to help us out with all the testing, the support system behind it. So it's always, it's been continuously been reshaped in a positive way to be able to, assist with the wellness of all the families and the students within the district.
So, maybe after that first sentence,
How about, I'm gonna, if you don't mind me building on
No,
what
go
Terry's
for
saying.
it.
So it says, we pride ourselves in working collaborating to effectively meet the needs of students of Buena Park School community. Right there, throughout the year, the Buena Park School District evolves to support and meet the needs of the school community in an ongoing basis. So something like right after that, Buena Park community.
so let's see,
Yeah. So throughout the year, the Buena Park School District evolves to support and meet the needs of the school community on an ongoing basis.
meet the needs, we need to change that because
Okay.
it's in the same sentence, or up there at the, we pride ourselves in working
To
collaboratively.
service
to
yes,
effectively meet the
let me
needs.
see. Support and serve the community of Buena Park. Support and serve.
After the first effectively,
Sure.
or is that where you were thinking?
Yeah,
Are you all on the same page
Yeah.
where we're
Yeah,
at?
uh-huh.
Okay,
Mhm.
so can you discuss the year that would
Buena Park community above it, right?
Can you read it out loud again?
Let's see. Throughout the year, the Buena Park School District evolved to support and serve the community.
I think maybe I'm lost. We said, are we leaving the we pride ourselves
sorry.
in working?
No, I had that first. So we pride ourselves in working collaboratively to effectively meet the needs of our students in the Buena Park community. Throughout the year, the Buena Park community support and serve.
Yeah, because we don't want to say community again.
Yeah.
They
Students and
students and
families.
families,
Students and families,
Students
sounds
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. Good.
serve our students and families.
And please take time to give
Yes.
us a call or tour one of our schools.
Yes.
I'm gonna beg you one more time to read that entire paragraph,
Sure.
just so we can make sure that everybody is on the same page and in sync with it.
We pride ourselves in working collaboratively to effectively meet the needs of our throughout the year, the Buena Park School District support and serve our students. And to give us a call.
Trustees?
I like it.
I like the enhancement on it.
Okay, so we. Thank you, Doctor.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I was looking at paragraph 3,
Okay,
and it's talking about, again, the things that we offer. And it's talking about the focuses. I'm wondering, is it, could that be a place to mention that we have kids who can take college credit courses?
oh, dual enrollment?
Yes. Right,
College courses.
right.
So looking at, where it says, there's something for everyone in Buena Park, the last sentence there, everyone in Buena Park, so with the addition of our alternative period there, after district, and then in addition, alternative K Academy, students may also engage virtually, is it virtually or digitally? And participate or enroll into college credit courses,
Mm-hmm, yeah,
right?
yes, that's what,
We go period here. In addition to. You already have, you already have it right here. Also engage virtually, where students may also.
Changing digitally to virtually?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you read that to us, Erin, please, from There Is Something for Everyone? Start there.
There's something for everyone in the Buena Park. Our alternative CA Academy of Accelerated Learning. Students may also engage virtually and enroll into
Steve,
mm-hmm,
you're okay with the wording?
yeah. Right. I had one more, there's just a typo in, paragraph 4, next to the bottom line, where it says, "We are proud of our community partnerships with city and, we are very pleased that," and that should be a through successful grant, so
Thank
add
you.
an R there.
And please look for those as we go through.
Yeah, of course.
Or my 4 eyes did not catch everything. All right, so we're good with this page now?
Yep.
Perfect. So let's go to page 4. And we have a little bit of work to do here. Now, the governance and the unity of purpose, under governance, I just put this quote as a filler. I've used it in some of the other governance handbooks that I've put together, but it's up to your team. You do not have to have this here. it's totally up to you. If there's something that you would like to put there, something that's more meaningful to your district, or to your governance team, we can change that.
You saying so?
We could also just put a definition of what governance is. We don't have to have a quote. Have several.
I would also remove the quote and more of a definition like I was stating.
I'm gonna fold the corner of this page, and then, I will pull out a couple as we go through, and then we can look and see what we want to insert back there. What about unity of purpose? And that is a definition, and the reason that I do put that one in there is, mainly for new trustees coming in to understand that the governance team has to have a unity of purpose in order to function, and that whatever it's determined to be, everyone has to get on board with it, because that's the whole point, unity of what your purpose, the trustee, is. So I think it just helps to have that there to explain to them in very simple terms what it means.
I think it's fine.
Okay. And then we get to the tough part, and this is where I hope we all did our homework, because we need to decide, what is your unity of purpose as a governance team? What do you see as your unity of purpose? Did anybody write down thoughts? I do have thoughts from trustee Castaneda. She submitted hers. I'll read what she said. She said, our unity of purpose is what we want to accomplish as a team for our students and our district. And then she put some bullets where she said, keep our students at the forefront of every decision, support every student's personal academic goals. Every child has a different goal, and then she put SCC and EL. And she has another bullet, create a positive culture environment for every student. And then another bullet where it says it's important to have a good, positive working culture. It starts at the district to be able to support all of the above. And so I think some of those were more thoughts. So that's what she has. Okay, so keeping students at the forefront.
Isn't that what she had? Didn't she have that?
She did.
Yeah,
She did.
I'm sorry, didn't send that far enough.
I was thinking along the same lines as Irene. I was just writing some of my thoughts also, not formalizing it, because I figured we'd have a discussion. And I was just saying, fostering appreciation for all voices to develop our best outcome for all of our students, preparing them to be contributing citizens of our democratic society. So I was thinking just a positive outlook for them. I liked everything Irene said, especially the top part.
I think the hard thing when we say keep every decision at the forefront of students, we already have that. So I think what you're saying is that democratic process, because we could say best decision for students is 10-1, guys. You said it. It's 10-1 students, right? And we can't do 10-1 students
No.
because financially we know that even though it's a good decision, we don't want people pointing the finger back and saying, but you said every decision was best for kids. Isn't that better for kids?
Mm-hmm.
Don't lock yourselves into an area. Right, no, I hear what you're saying, but you're gonna get people pushing back and saying, you have a budget, more money here than there. That's why, that what you had mentioned there about the democratic process, about, can you read yours once more?
To develop, okay, preparing them, oh, no, this is talking about
Green.
to being contributing citizens of our democratic, fostering appreciation of all voices to develop the best outcome for all of our students, preparing them to be contributing citizens of our democratic society.
Fostering all voices,
Mm-hmm,
for the benefit of all kids
mm-hmm,
in a democratic way.
mm-hmm.
And let me throw out some things to all of you. So when we talk about unity of purpose, we're talking about some of the things that you've already stated here, keeping the district focused on learning and achievement for all students, communicating a common vision, operating openly with trust and integrity, govern in a dignified and professional manner, treating everyone with civility and respect, govern within board-adopted policies and procedures, take collective responsibility for the board's performance, periodically evaluate its own effectiveness, and ensure opportunities for the diverse range of views in the community to inform the board's deliberations. So some of these are in line with what you've said and what Trustee Castaneda said, and then what you also said, Trustee Ahmad. I'm thinking there's a way to merge the three. Trustee Frutos, anything to add?
I was looking at my notes and I just realized I didn't. So I'm trying to recollect here.
That's not good.
Yeah. I think, as a governing board, and the purpose of unity is, it starts with us, treating everybody with respect and civility, right? That's a big part of it. Also having an open mind, because that's something that we about a lot, to our children, to our students, being open-minded, and it just hearing everybody out. So I think as the purpose of our board would be just, treating everybody with respect, civility, keeping that open mind, and always making sure that our students are put in the best scenario and situations so they can be succeeding. So it starts with us, as a board, and it also trickles down.
What about if you take part of, like, I like the first part that you said, fostering appreciation for all voices. And I didn't write fast enough to catch the other part after that, but I like that first part that you said. And you can merge that in with, while recognizing and respecting differences of perspective. You don't have to type all this yet.
Thank you.
In the style of the board. So we could add something like that into it. But keeping the district focused on learning and achievement for all students, or communicating with a common vision, while communicating with a common vision. So you can say fostering appreciation for all voices while communicating a common vision for success of the student,
Citizens, families.
yeah, or something. And I'm just throwing this out. You guys take what you like and grab a hold of it and add to it, and think about how you like it.
It says fostering appreciation of all voices. Got to develop.
Working at fostering with all the voices.
Communicate a vision, best outcome. You're right.
There's a statement here in the governance core handbook that says, our vision is of a governance system, school board, and superintendent working together as a cohesive, unified team with a common vision driven by a shared moral imperative. I was thinking I like the line of a common vision, but should be driven by, a goal of so I like your first line. I
Democratic.
really like your first line a lot, fostering appreciation for all voices.
Common vision in the best interest of our students?
For the best outcome for all of our students? I thought we had,
Yeah, to become.
Fostering appreciation of all voices while communicating.
Yeah, it shouldn't be too long. It doesn't need to be a paragraph.
So, I mean, read it one more time.
Fostering appreciation of all voices while communicating.
I think that's what Irene was saying. That's what you're saying, right?
uh-huh.
One simple sentence.
Say it again, Phyllis.
Maybe add
Oh, yeah,
respect
yeah.
and appreciation.
All voices while
Mhm.
communicating a common.
And what we'll do is, once we get through everything, we'll go through one more time and look at the changes that you've made, so you hear it a second time and make sure it still sounds good to you. Is that good?
Mhm.
Okay. Thank you, Erin, you're doing fabulous. So page 5, these are just basic, these are off your website. These are your mission, vision, and your core ethical values. Now is not the time to revisit those things, that's a whole other process. So I'm assuming that we're okay with this page
Mhm.
until you all review it. Oh, yeah, no, that one was just what I took off the website. I was going to ask Erin when I do the final one for some nice pictures. So this was just the page I put in to explain to you guys this next part, because this is when we kind of get into the nitty gritty, where we want to talk about what do you see as your norms and protocols. But first, we start with the being responsible, effective governance. Now, these are boilerplate statements, meaning these are things that come from the governance core, come from, our governance workshop. But that doesn't mean we can't change the wording if you don't like it. So if you want to look at what responsible, effective governance is and make sure that that first sentence sounds okay to you, the BPSD board is entrusted with much. It has a solemn duty to uphold the Constitution of California and the United States, protect the public interest in schools, and provide high-quality education to all students. And that's just saying, what are you responsible for as a trustee? When we take our oath, we all, swear to uphold and defend the Constitution and, to make sure that we're there for the students. But we can change this. If there's anything in it that you want to change, add, delete. You're okay with it? Okay. So governance roles and responsibilities. Again, these are boilerplate based off of what we would teach you, what CSBA would teach you in any of our governance workshops, whether it's orientation for new trustees, whether it's one of our Masters in Governance courses, any of our leadership programs. These are what we tell you governance roles and responsibilities are. However, again, there are things that you can add. If you feel like there's something missing, look at this list and we can add it. If you feel like there's something that you question why it's there, let's have a discussion about it.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
And like I said, these are pretty much boilerplate. Limits of trustee authority, again, boilerplate, but please look at it and see if there's things in there that you question that maybe you don't feel is a limit of trustee authority, or that you don't want here, or something that you feel is missing and should be there. Let me know. So take a minute and look through those. Okay. Which one do you have a question mark next to?
So for this point, board members to visit. Not that I don't agree with them. Maybe in the future.
Common
Common
sense?
sense.
They're not, trust me.
People tell them, you need to pick that up and move that over there. I mean, you tell people.
I mean,
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
never seen it with our board. I'm like, what?
Not here, but with other districts. Actually, school visits is one of the most contentious things that comes up with so many districts that we work with,
Mm.
believe it or not.
Mm.
And then the same thing with having a child in the district. I had a child in the district, as I shared with all of you when I was first elected. And I made sure to draw a very thick line between the two, my role as a board member and my role as a parent. But not everyone sees it that way. And while, like you just said, this board, it hasn't been an issue or a concern. People who come in, 4 years from now, 8 years
Yeah.
from now, they may say, hey, free for all.
Okay, I don't mind it being.
But it's good, though, to ask these questions. Yeah, because remember, it's a living document, and it's going to be passed on and revised by different teams, governance teams. So that's something we want to put in their heads for the future. Don't try that.
Mhm.
Any others that there were any concerns or questions about? Anything that you felt that should be added? And we just go through and we just put the standard ones and we base it off of the board bylaws, off the 9200.
Mhm.
We're gonna mark that one, okay? And we'll go to page 8. And this is where you all have to start. Hopefully you've checked some off that you didn't like, some that you liked, added in some that you felt were missing, because now we're going to talk about the norms. So what I did is I put, subheaders and then put bullets underneath, the different topics. So let's start with accountability. I only put one bullet there, that you all take responsibility for the success of the governance team. There could be more. If you don't want accountability listed at all, it's up to you.
are accountable for what happens. And that'd be clear, is
Mhm. Yeah, I think
Is
so
okay with
too.
me.
You're comfortable with it, we take collective responsibility. And that goes back to that boat again, you know, where two people are like, oh, we're cool up here, and the other ones are trying to get rid of the water. It's everybody's responsibility. If board fails on something, then board fails, not an individual. So that one, we're okay?
Mhm.
So take a second, if you haven't done so already, look at competence and judiciousness, and see which ones of those you feel, warrant staying, which ones maybe you have question marks next to, like, why is this there? Or, things that you feel like should be there, but they're not. You guys make any notes?
Yes, I was looking at, about 4/5 down, it says absent board direction.
Uh-huh.
We do not observe or participate in the interviews of prospective employees. And we have sat on some, employee panels, so I'm wondering, is that not such a good idea, or what?
Well, yeah. So as long as the board gives direction, then you have the authority to do it. That's why we put absent board direction. CSBA has the stance that, that trustees should not sit on employee panels other than the superintendent.
Right, and I have had them sit on,
But-
my first couple of years when we started to build the cabinet and
Mhm.
directors roles, those higher level roles. We had a change in our HR department,
Uh-huh.
personal. Both the chief and the director were new, and so to have that, to make sure that the process was as good as possible,
Mhm.
I did have 8 board members sit on, as board member for the positions for the executive cabinet group and also for the director. Now that we're filled in, I think we've had them less and less be a part of that process.
Mhm.
So again, it goes back to that transparency and people's processes are followed. Like I said, I get the final recommendations to me, and
Right.
then I finally meet with them to interview them versus down in the weeds where I don't need to be, right? So,
And I think that, districts, a lot of districts do that, but they do it differently, as to how that person is involved. For example, like you, when our superintendent was hiring, cabinet level administrators, she would always send us their resume and say, of the finalists, not of everybody. She would say, here's our finalists that we're going to be interviewing. So we had time to look at their resumes. We all looked at their resumes. And then after they did the final interviews, she would then tell us, here's my recommendation, you know, any questions, concerns, you know, and if we had any, we would ask, well, you know, I see on this person's resume this, or this person's resume that. And then prior to them being, formally, given the position, they would come to closed session of one of our board meetings where she would introduce them to the board and give us the opportunity to, you know, ask, not like put them through a whole formal interview, but to
I have
ask
heard that.
basic questions.
I have heard that.
Yeah, and we
Yeah.
would just say, you know, oh, you know, I see that you're from whatever district, you know, I read in the paper that that district had this issue or that issue, how'd you handle that? Or, you know, we would just ask like very short, basic questions, kind of just get a feel of them, but we basically trusted the superintendent.
And I've heard that from my colleagues. I've heard that people that they brought forward that way, they did not vote on the voting thing, but it became a voting thing.
Yeah, no,
Right, and so,
we did
yeah,
not
so-
vote. It was just basically an introduction, and, then we could ask the superintendent, once that person left the room, if we had additional questions, we could ask the superintendent additional questions. But like you said, the ultimate authority was with the superintendent to hire
Yeah.
that individual. And, we always said, hey, is you on the line if you pick the wrong people? So, I mean, just that part alone gives you a bit of confidence that the superintendent will choose the best and the brightest because they know that these individuals are a reflection of them. So we keep that in mind, but I understand what you're saying about, you know, having to fill a lot of positions at that time and trying to make sure that the process was transparent and open and making sure that you had, you know, other opinions, especially if you didn't have a full cabinet there to support you through the process. So it's up to all of you. Do you want to leave it? Do you want to take it out? Do you want to reword it? I think it already says absent board direction.
Right, so it does give that flexibility. So I'm fine with it. And like I said, we haven't really been doing that. Oh,
It was Rick and I were the only, so we had 2 assistant supes back in the time. When I became the superintendent, we had no assistant supes. It was Rick Colash, my administrative assistant. I were the only 2. So, you know, the third, we thought a third would be the president of the board.
Right.
Be that part of that piece. And then oftentimes we brought an outsider outside the district as that fourth person, just to
I've
get
heard
that
that, yeah.
outside, you know, that opinion from someone else.
Yeah.
So, but now that we've got a full set of house, I hope no one over there is planning on leaving, you know.
They all look so happy.
They are, I mean, they're all here, man, you're 100% attendance, so,
Yeah.
yeah, so, I mean, you know, we could continue doing it the way we are right now, and when we do have these higher-level positions, they include the board in. And I just sort of say the word president, that way whoever's in charge at the time, you know, and if you can't, then it goes down to the clerk, right? There's that process.
Right.
First saying, well, you always pick Sarah, we always pick Sarah, we always pick Sarah. She's not Marsha. But she just happens to sit in that role of president during that time.
Right.
And so I think you were the president when we hired a lot of these people at that.
I actually like our
We didn't grill
I
them.
mean.
But some have. No.
Clarifying, right?
I have heard.
That way, that feels to me a little bit more, lead, so to say, than being on a panel that gets to see what we got, like, we got all these people, and then the actual committee brings it down to like 3 people. Really that
Yeah.
way than seeing it at the end.
I always took ours to be more of an introduction, because I think at that point, the superintendent had probably already made their decision. You know, like I said, the bottom line is, final decision goes with the superintendent, whether we're concerned or not, it goes with them. So we're okay with that one.
Yeah.
Okay. Were there any others that caused pause? Yes.
The one right below it, the verb was something that I was wondering about. Says we do not withhold or obstruct the flow of important information that belongs with the governance team. And so the belongs with, I just wondered, what was that actually saying?
So, if sometimes, one of the things that I always hear when I do my consulting work is not everybody gets all the information, or not everybody gets the same information. Some people get information and they don't share it. And so this was, not worded very well, but basically we want to say that, everybody gets the same information.
Yeah, I agree
So I
with
think
that.
there's a nicer, less convoluted way to say this. Let's see,
We ensure that information is.
yeah. Can you say ensure that all information?
We ensure that all information is shared with all board members, and I'm gonna go back and say in a timely manner, because I've also heard that.
With all board members in a timely manner?
Yeah. So. Sarah got it 3 weeks before, and Rhoda got it the week before,
Yeah.
before we're gonna vote. Sorry, Sarah. I mean, Sarah wrote it, right, so, they got a timely manner. I would say since we've done our one-on-one, ready to receive the same.
Any others? Trustee Fruto?
No, I was reading everything is, those are the ones that we talked about, those are the ones that I also had a question on, but everything else is pretty self, those myself that I, the same questions Shed and, I kind of brought up.
Great. Okay, so let's move on to ethics and integrity. Are there any that you all have marked?
I'm actually at the end of my notes, so I'm good with everything else.
Oh, wow,
For me.
that's awesome.
I just, for undisclosed confidential, a person not entitled to receive. What it means, I just don't go back and say something from closed session.
We can actually, change that so that it's not so informative. It does come from government code, but what we can do is we can tone it down. So let's do that. So we want to just say, we do not disclose confidential information acquired during a closed session period.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds good.
May I interrupt really quickly? Just
Yes.
to, mention that Mr. Chong has joined us. He is a part of the meeting at 6:17.
Hello.
Leave your fan base behind you, you're all right.
Yeah, look at that.
Thank you. There you go. We're on page 9. We're going through, we're going on going through, and, noting any that we had, any of the things that I put in to the boilerplate governance handbook to determine if there's anything that you have questions about, concerns about, you want to add, or you want to delete. So we're on ethics and integrity, so just hop in as you see fit and welcome. Okay, so we're just going to say, we do not disclose confidential information acquired during a closed session period.
Mm-hmm.
If they want to see the governance code, they can look it up. Any others under that one?
Any way to change blindside? We do nothing to blindside fellow governance team members. I don't know.
Let's see, where is that one at?
On
On the
page
first page?
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
Towards the bottom,
at the bottom.
last one on there.
The last bullet.
Yeah,
8.
yeah, the no surprise
surprise.
rule.
Yeah,
So we can just say, we adhere to the no surprise, we can put no surprise in quotes, and then we adhere to the no surprise
Yeah.
rule when it comes to our fellow governance team members. Is that okay?
I'm fine with that.
That's
Just, I
good.
don't like the sound of blindside.
Sometimes I get a little aggressive. Okay. Any others? And Trustee Chong, I know you've just gotten here. We'll go through, after we go through all of these, we're going to circle back and go through just one more time to look at the changes to make sure everybody's clear and didn't have second thoughts after we did it. So we're good? Oh,
I was
go ahead.
looking at, we do not participate in gossip or rumor, mongering. Can we just remove gossip?
Where is that one at? Oh, on the second page, I got it.
Second page, yeah.
So remove gossip.
Or change it to something different.
I actually like the gossip. Rumor mongering, to me, sounds worse.
That's clear.
You think
Yeah.
Hearsay tonight.
Yeah, gossip or hearsay.
Okay, yeah, hearsay is good. That sounds
Yeah.
easier, okay.
So do you want to say, we do not participate in hearsay or rumor mongering, or just we do not participate? Which one are we taking out?
We don't receive gossip or hearsay.
Yeah.
Are you okay with taking
Yeah.
out rumor mongering?
Yes, I'm okay with that.
All righty. And I think we need to change the one, the superintendent is required to report. I think, oh, no, because you guys don't do vice president, huh?
No.
Okay, so then I had it right. For some reason I was thinking that it wrong. We're okay there. Just a note on that one is really important. I know that some people get nervous when I put that one in there. They think, oh, is somebody gonna tattle on me or say I did something, but it's not. There are times, and if you guys read, and get as many of the alerts on your phone as I do about different school districts all across the country, you'd be shocked and amazed what some school board members do outside of their authority. And then it has to be addressed. And so there has to be a process of how it is addressed, because then that cuts down confusion and everybody knows, hey, this is in our governance handbook of how we were gonna address it. So should we move on to solidarity?
Yep.
Okay, any questions, concerns there? That rain?
Yeah.
I know.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Wow.
It's raining again. It was windy earlier, so it's amazing, amplified in a sense.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it does.
With solidarity.
I know you said you were at the end of your notes. You're okay?
Yeah.
Trustee Chong, you okay with solidarity? Okay.
Solidarity.
Okay, how the board communicates. I'm glad we're in here. Yeah. You're okay with that one, Trustee Chong?
Yes.
Okay. Support, respect, and consideration. You guys are okay? Just give me an, I'm okay. During board meetings. Now, this one, I watched a couple of your board meetings to try to see if I saw like any big red flag. I did not see any big red flags. So I just tried to go with, the standards and then things that may pop up. So if there's things that you feel like you don't want here or things that need to
I
be
just-
added, please let me know.
Yeah, just, Jerry had gone to, board president Cruz had gone to a work session on, cell phone. He had asked me about, hey, look, when we discuss cell phones, the first people using cell phones is the guys. When two people are on, just checking, how's it at home, right? Right, so, and we're very fortunate that we're not here super late, but I can imagine my colleagues that may go 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night are checking, are the kids down for the evening, right? And others are, they're on their cell phones. That perception might be that they're talking, right? So the things with the agenda, so when Jerry explained that to me, I had Karen just ask our legal counsel what it is. I think what it comes down to is, you know, it's okay to use them at the dais, but we want to refrain from being on them all the time. Makes sense. Like, I know people here, Rhodia has her notes written on there, right? So she's using it. And I often see all our board members using their phones when we, are giving their board reports, right? Hey, I visited this, or they go back to
That's on
their.
the calendar.
Like my
Yeah.
calendar, I went back in there, right? So just as long as we're all okay understanding that, you know, when it comes to that action item piece, unless we have notes written there, that's the thing, the part where we just want to make sure that, you know, it's, you know, transparency is everything, right?
Right.
Perception is everything, so.
And
And I
I
think,
also want to get clarification on that, because it was just, I think it just came down to perception, right?
That's-
So what if it's like a particular meeting where, I don't know, somebody might be angry, whatever it is, right? And they see one of us or two on the phone, it's like, it's a whole perception, right? I mean,
That you two are talking.
yeah, that we're in cahoots for whatever it is, right? And my understanding was that the public can, ask for that to be put in public record, because now they see two of us, they don't know what's going on, right? They're in the black per se. So I just want to get a feel and understanding for all of us here to see what that really looks like from your perspective.
And both sides are absolutely right, and it's funny because on Saturday I was teaching one of the Masters in Governance courses, the Setting Direction course, and we show a slide, another cartoon slide, and is two people sitting on either side of an individual, and they're like, I'm not texting, I'm taking notes, because one has their phone in it. Because sometimes it's a generational thing too, where like my coordinator at work feels more comfortable. She always has her phone, and she's always putting in her phone everything that I'm telling her as I'm training her, or she has her questions listed in her phone while she's talking to me, while I'm like, okay, let me go to my desk and look that up, you know? So it's a generational thing as well. But you're right that it can be, people see, I think it's the perception, like you said. So I'll give you an example. Two people were on the desk, and they were passing a note. And they thought that they were being sly with it, you know, one would write it, you know, another one would look, chuckle a little bit, right? And then at the end of the night, they threw it in the trash. Well, somebody from the audience watched and said, hey, they were passing notes. We want to see it. We want to know what they were saying. And it becomes, like you said, public record. See you passing notes.
Well, no.
No, I'm just playing.
Let me read you my note.
that's Aaron always passes, you know, it's like,
Yeah,
wake up.
but no,
But this is, but again, it goes back to training, right? Training
Yeah.
is everything. I mean, you
Yeah.
talk about the classes, you talk about the Masters in Governance courses, the class that Jerry took.
Yeah.
I mean, you two are doing something in the summer that is being offered. It was just great that we starting to offer some of these, we're back open
Mhm.
in person, right? One of the things that I know Aaron's always harping on me about in a positive way is, you know, the sticky notes on the agenda. On the format that we have, you can actually write your sticky notes on the agenda. So if you need time to sort of sit with Aaron one at a time instead of and it's okay, this is okay as well. But again, it's that perception,
If you
right?
wanted to, like, in the online platform, if you log in and go through window one, there's the option to place a sticky note, like a Post-it note, and every item is only visible to the user. So, Rhodia, if you wanted to put your comments in or bullet points for your comments, you would be the only person who could ever see that. So if that's helpful, unless time to pick up the phone, there are some features like, and then they would be on your iPad that you're using to look at.
Sticky note, you do that.
I have it.
So that's another option.
Yeah. And then the other thing is, sometimes where it becomes an issue is, let's say I'm on my phone and, what's your name? Terry? And so I'm on my phone and I'm texting, and then, I put my phone down, and then next thing you know, Sari picks up her phone, chuckles, puts her phone down, then my phone goes off, I pick it back up, and I'm looking at her. People see that. And then they're like, okay, what were those two talking about? You know, we want to know.
And I think that's
So-
my attention, because they're saying everybody nowadays, they're looking at body language, right? So they're looking at the body language that
Yeah.
we're
and in the form that we're interacting, so they're looking at facial expressions, they're looking at, you
Mhm.
know, any type of gesture. So that's the main reason why it caught my attention, because yes, I know we do have them up here, or I have seen it, myself included, right? I'm not excluded from it, but I just think it was an eye-opening, like, aha moment for me, because
Right.
once they said they can put it into record, it's like, okay, it just kind of changes how I want to
But
proceed through
only-
my notes.
Only if it's related to something, the business of the board. So like if you were texting your child to check on your child to make sure they did their homework, and somebody says, well, we want to know, you know, that doesn't go into record. Hey, I was texting my kid. I have kids. I'm a parent. I needed to check on my kid. But like if you were texting, like, let's say somebody in the community saying like, hey, what was that you told me that happened over at the Buena Park Learning Center? Then that's a problem there, because then it looks like you're trying to get additional information, or you're going outside of what's, you know, on the agenda. So then it becomes a problem. So you do have to be careful though, because like I just said, people will think that we're having a conversation about something going on in the meeting. The sticky note thing, I love sticky notes. I have Post-it notes everywhere, in my house, in my car, I have Post-it notes everywhere. But like you said, as board president, if somebody said something that I was confused about during the meeting, I would write a note to my superintendent and say, I thought that we were such and such, and I would just stick it over to her, and then she would look at it and she would respond, oh, they're gonna talk about that next, and give me the note back. Somebody wants to see that for public record, I don't have a problem. No worries, because I didn't say anything out of line. So the
Yeah,
main
look at
thing.
For the record.
The main thing is that you have to make sure that whatever you're texting or saying or looking up, that you're okay with it, with the public seeing it. Don't text, write, or, you know, in any other way communicate, passing notes, with something on it that you wouldn't want the public to see. Because they do have the right, as you found out. Yeah. So, do I think that it's wise to always be on the phone? No, I can't tell you. Our board meetings were on Thursday nights, and then during football season, oh man, it was hard not to check a score real quick. But, you know, we have to remember our position and that the public is watching us. So that's where it stands on that. But we can change language here if you'd like to maybe reword some language about, cell phone usage.
So what do you guys think as we all have families, right? Some of us have children, but whether you have children or not, sometimes we do have family emergencies, so.
Would agree. I think it's just asking, we will not take personal phones, and we know that. We would never answer the phone at the diet, right? Or in closed session, personal cellular telephones, 3 times before meetings are called. You can't use them. It just says that during that meeting, you're gonna silence it and you're gonna not gonna answer phone calls, right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you
Yeah.
gotta- if you've got a text during the meeting, or if you wanna look at your notes, then I think that's, we're okay. But like you said, you've gotta be okay, myself included, that we're okay that anybody can ask for public records.
Mm-hmm.
Say, no, look,
One of the things they mentioned was if such thing as an emergency is coming up, we can record, hey, like, might be an emergency, I might have to,
Mm-hmm.
you know, use my cell phone or step away. But we have to put in record that that's.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you know what, all of us, you know, like you said, have families, and, you know, whether it's a small child or a spouse even. My phone's ringing right now. But if there's certain people, like if they call me and they know I just talked to them and they knew I was at board meeting and they call me, where then that panic sets in, like something's wrong. They know that this is Thursday night, they know that I'm in board meeting, and you just like, I need to take this call. Well, the way our dais was it was easy because we had a door right behind us that we could step into a room where I can say, excuse me, take my phone and go into the room and answer it. And then, like you said, come back and then say, I apologize, it was a family emergency and I needed to take that call. So it was on the record. But if you get a call like that during, like, let's say you leave, your kids are at home and they know mom is at board meeting and, you know, not to call, but then all of a sudden they call once and you don't answer it, and then they call again, you're gonna start to panic.
It happened
And-
on my first board meeting, I call unless it's from 7 just called on silent,
And you freak out.
and I freak out, and I
Yeah.
say, "Button it, can we have some chips?"
Yeah. That's sorry. Yeah.
Lose their priorities, can you say, right?
They can, but if things like that happen, that's my advice, is just to say, excuse me, step out, take the call, come back, do just what trustee Fruto said, acknowledge it on the record, apologize, and then resume. So we're all good with
Yep.
that?
Mhm.
Okay.
I don't know. Or would fall asleep a lot.
So let's say, something about being alert, attent, or participative. Yeah, attentive.
Attentive, yeah.
So, we will remain attentive
And engage.
Throughout,
and,
Yeah,
attentive
yeah.
and engaged throughout the meeting.
yeah.
So we will
We
remain,
could have put that like right under on timer.
yes,
Okay.
that would be perfect.
We will.
Throughout the meeting. And one thing I do want to say, you know, we have the one up here that I added in, we behave and dress in a manner worthy of a professional business meeting. Keep in mind, like, we would have, certain meetings throughout the year where we would be like, hey, it's polo meeting, because, you know, it was summertime, and so we'd all wear our polos.
Oh, we
That's
have-
professional.
We have that,
Yeah.
we have some board members
So-
that attend a golf tournament every year,
Yeah.
and they always come in their shorts, and they're really happy about their polo shirts and their
Yeah.
shorts.
And that's fine when you
Yeah,
do things
yeah.
like that, so don't think that you can't.
The important part is acknowledging why it is we're coming.
Absolutely, yeah.
The public sometimes already, they have a perception of what you look like when you come in, a vision of how you come in, and then you come in shorts and a polo shirt, it's like, what's going on, right? So,
Yeah, Rick said
Yeah.
the time.
oh, that was his highlight of the day.
His favorite.
Yeah.
But then they always said that they were at a school
Event, yeah.
connected event, and
Yeah.
so it was accepted.
Yes, absolutely. So, okay, so now we're on to protocol. So we're moving along here, people. So gatherings and communications, anyone have anything there that was of concern that you marked? Several of these, as you will see, are just government codes. So they're nothing,
That one, I can tie it back to the phone conversation. That can break, the Brown Act, if that was the case. You've already taken care of it on the previous one.
so.
I don't have anything else.
Trustee Chung? Good, okay. So agenda preparation and distribution, I didn't know your process, so we need to, I know there's a couple of things in here we probably need to clean up, like by this time or that day or something. So the last bullet.
We
need-
talked about the 5 days, Aaron. We talked about,
Regular board meetings are made.
To place an item on the
It
agenda?
was on the,
so
no, that was on the
just
second
Oh.
bullet
No.
point.
second, where's this, at least 5
It had
days?
originally said.
Oh,
5 days.
yeah.
We took that out.
So-
Yeah. Agenda would be available on
Should we say no less than 4 days? Trustees? That the
Well-
agenda is available to you, no less than 4 days?
Usually
3 days.
Friday,
It's usually 3 days.
it's usually Friday
Yeah,
afternoon.
What
on
was the board
Tuesday?
president's?
Their meeting's on Monday, so Monday, if you include Monday.
Oh, your board meetings are on a Monday?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We're so-
Today.
Oh, my God.
The regular-
Long week, right?
Oh, wow.
It is Friday. no
Yeah,
matter
it's
what.
always, even this,
It's always the Friday before.
Right.
And that's when my one-on-ones are with everybody, except for Jerry's, of course. Jerry's are Wednesdays, it can also be Thursday. Friday before.
So then do we want to put a time or
prior to,
Yeah, it's fine.
prior to.
trustees?
That's what we work with, so.
I used to it, huh?
Unless it's on Friday and we have the meeting on Monday, so.
Okay. Then what about the last bullet? I don't, like I said, I don't know your process.
Typically, it's at the discussion calendar, throw it up there.
No,
No, this is.
no, the last bullet is to place an item on the agenda.
So that would have to be a whole week before. So if I meet with you guys on Friday, week before that Friday is agenda prep. So prepping the agenda. No, Wednesday's too late. But we do agenda review with my staff, so it has to be that Friday before. We have a board meeting on that Monday. Friday, if there's something you want, typically in discussion, we have that, the conversation, and she'll carry it through on the agenda. But we have the board meeting Monday, then we have, that, by that Friday, if you want something that's on the agenda, you're gonna look through. We would put that on the agenda, and then the following week is
Be like 10
agenda
days
prep.
before.
Prep,
It'd be,
So you guys don't currently have a formal process?
whatever.
Okay, so then this is good, because we need to have one. That way people aren't all doing different things, and I'm sure it will make Aaron's life easier as well. So so don't get mad at me, but I'm going to start with Erin.
Yeah, it's fine.
Because she's the one who has to put together all that information. So what type of timeline works for you?
I think, thinking 10 days before, because board meeting's on the 28th. Montes is gonna talk board by Friday, the 20th. I have the information for that. For the board meeting, days before he speaks. Board, and that gives breaks on the agenda, where on the agenda it would go. 10 days before a calendared board meeting.
And how would you like it received? By email?
Yeah.
So there's no form. So send, and we don't want it by text.
Don't they just submit to Assembly or Gannett?
No, because if you as a board member wanted to place an item on the agenda for discussion for that Jerry or Ramon, we would determine that what you're requesting, is that within the board's jurisdiction? Because if it wasn't, then that's basically.
Your parking lot's not on the agenda.
Oh, this is about us putting agenda items.
Right.
Well, or anyone else. I mean, a member of the community could also request it. And so it would go through the president
Sure.
to determine whether that's
Email.
within your jurisdiction, if it's something you guys could even, anything about. If it's not within your jurisdiction, then we would slightly decline to place that on our agenda. But if it was something within your jurisdiction on the agenda, so knowing about it 10 days before the board meeting
Right.
would allow me time to place it on the agenda.
And it also would give time if there's, a cabinet member who needs to get some information together to have the time to
Yeah.
do that.
Not every request would or could be honored.
Right, because in some things that some board members might request as an individual, like I always tell people, distinguish between the want to know and need to know. And so there may be something that was more just a curiosity thing that a conversation with the superintendent or with another cabinet member, could take care of.
Right.
So then, should we say to place an item on the agenda
Should be
To re-
emailed.
to request an item be put on the agenda? So to request an item be put on the agenda, submit an email. You want the email to go to the superintendent and board president?
Yeah, I like that idea.
You'll pass it on to Aaron, or do you want them to send it to Aaron too?
Things on there,
Okay.
really good.
And then no less than 10 days prior,
Yeah.
The calendar,
to,
board meeting.
Calendar.
yeah, to a calendar.
Request an item be placed on the board agenda, or should be sent to the board president no less than to a
And the board president and superintendent. Yeah. Are you all good with that one?
Yeah.
Anything else under agenda preparation? It- Board member meeting preparation and attendance. Anything there? Any red flags? Anything you feel like needs to be added? That was just, I put that there because that was our protocol to go through the superintendent, but whatever your protocol is, what is your protocol?
Typically is request of my staff members. I'm okay with my staff members, responding on my behalf.
Right,
Like the CC email type of a thing. Or to direct the staff member to give me a report of this or that, rather than come to me.
so if there's a question that they have, before the board meeting, because we're getting ready to approve the budget, and I've been looking at my packet and I have questions about, page 8 in the report, do I pick up the phone and just call the cabinet member, or do
You'll
I-
email Aaron, the
Okay,
process, you
so
email Aaron
that's what this
before
is?
12 o'clock, right? And so, and then, during that, well, as soon as I get we haven't had too many, but the past practice has been, they would email the superintendent. But and then during, our cabinet meetings, we would share the questions, and that the responsible for that question would have a response. They would give it back to Aaron, and then Aaron would say, you know, there was a question on the item, blah, blah, blah,
Right.
blah, here's the
Mhm.
question, and here, and
Here's the
everybody would
response.
receive that.
Right.
Mhm.
So then, do we want to change that one to reflect, that process? And say,
So why just, how it was, and, I said in there, but does that mean that anything that I asked about during the,
So if you're asking for things, anything that, you know, again, it goes back to that Brown Act, right? I have to be very careful what I share. They have the same thing on the agenda, you know, there's, I can answer, I answer them. For clarity, if I would have a question on this. For the most part, we haven't had too.
and it goes back to what we had at the very beginning about everybody getting the same information,
Mhm.
especially if it's in preparation for a board meeting.
us a bunch of questions emailed up and.
Yeah, because you guys have a short turnaround.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
One-on-ones, I'm not.
But some things, like I said, are more like maybe something that's more internal that just you want to know, and then there's some questions that may come up that would be a question that would be like, oh, that's a great question, I better let the board know about this one too.
Like maybe an expense that was on there.
Yeah, or like me with the acronyms, what does that acronym stand for? Use something you might want them to know prior to board meeting, so that if it's used during the meeting, the board doesn't get a puzzled look on their face, they know what it means. So what do you guys want to do about that last bullet? Do you want to reword it, or do you want to take it out?
Or any inquiry.
Say, instead of may, just say should redirect them, in this, we could take out only, say, inquiries from board members.
Yeah.
Shall redirect them to the superintendent. Take
But
out,
if we have a protocol, we don't, we just want to say all inquiries should be directed towards the superintendent. Members should be,
yeah, we can just say that.
instead of saying us directly talking to staff members.
Are you guys okay with that?
Yeah.
So inquiries from board members shall be directed to the superintendent. You could actually also say superintendent or designee,
Sure.
because they're, like, during budget time, our assistant suits knew that we were gonna be have lots of questions.
They do a great job in the Friday report. I mean, there's plenty of opportunities.
Okay,
Friday report has plenty of information. Top of the one-on-one.
Inquiries from board
Very
members.
helpful.
shall be
Very helpful.
directed to the superintendent. Okay. Are any other ones under that one? Okay, so planning special board meetings, like study sessions, one is a government code. Just letting you know what guidelines you're supposed to follow for your special meeting. And then setting a date, I'm sure you guys probably work well together to decide.
We talked about that
date.
second Monday, so we went from 2 Mondays a month to 1 Monday a month.
Mhm.
Monday a
For a
month,
study session.
if we should do that.
So then should we take that second bullet out or reword it and just say that the priority is given to the second Monday of each month? I mean, no, that's when your regular meeting is. Fourth
The
Monday.
fourth Monday.
So priority is given to the fourth Monday of each month for special
Sure.
board meetings / study sessions.
That, we can't say that it wasn't in writing, that we have reserved that date for, how we talked about it for that specific,
Right.
that still allows us to open up a study session, should we let's come up with one and see what they've,
Right.
that's right. So I think it makes sense to include.
Did you catch that, Erin?
So I have, not possible, let's see. In the interest of full attendance at special board meetings, priority is given, or is that what
Oh,
we're
no,
saying
we're
now?
taking all of
All
that
that
out,
out, okay.
and we're making it short and sweet.
So in the interest of full attendance at special board meetings, priority is given to the. Okay.
Anything else under that one?
I'm sorry, could you read it again?
It is, in the interest of full attendance at special board meetings, priority is given to the fourth Monday.
Monday of each month. Okay, thank you.
Sorry.
Great. The role of the president, this one is in your board bylaw. So you don't have to like go into everything that's in your board bylaws. If you want to get into the full detail, you can look at your board bylaws for that one, because it's right there under board bylaw 9121. Any questions on that one? Request for information, guys, we just said they're directed to the superintendent.
Mhm.
Mhm.
The agenda is-
Yeah, and
Now, well,
they should come through the superintendent.
yeah.
We did have some that would come through, requests for, facilities, other things that, you know, that I know that Rick Holas used to send me. Hey, I want to forward this on to you, and it was a request. Remind them. Part of this group here.
Because they have one employee, so direction should not be given to any other staff member for anything. And if there's it's different, and people think, does that mean I can never ask anybody a question? That's not what it means. We all go out to school visits, back to school nights, open house. You may run into the director of secondary, and you guys are walking together up into the school or walking around the school together and just having a casual conversation, and you ask them a question. Oh, yeah, I saw them implementing that new program that you told us about. How's it going? That's not anything that you cannot say. To ask, in casual conversation, oh, how's it going? Oh, and they'll tell you, oh, it's going well, or this, that. Oh, yeah, well, I'm looking forward to hearing a full report on it. That's fine to have those kinds of conversations. What's not okay is to then say, oh, well, you know what, can you provide me with the numbers? I want to know what the enrollment is. I want to know what this is. I want to know how many people have been successful. That's when you've crossed the line. So just casual conversation is fine. Getting into the minutia and starting to request numbers and data and all this other stuff, that becomes a problem. Sure.
well, we're still actually- I was walking in one of the emails. That's something that who is in charge of about it, like whatever. It was
Right.
kind of like, did you get?
Rick did email me that. I mean,
Yeah.
Rick
So
always
emailed
always
us
sent me
over-
things that board members sent him.
So I was wondering, is there an age
I
group to be
think-
sent to the superintendent?
I think the piece there is people think that you have to act like that if a board member asks. Rick was smart enough, he's been he's an assistant superintendent of business services, immediately sent it over to me. I said, Rick, ever stop, take a look at it and fix it, let's fix it as soon as possible. It needs to be fixed, or at least put a cone around, right? So we had that conversation. I do think that they need to come through me, and you can send it, hey, Rick, by the way, I was there, or CC Ramon and Rick, because really, I just want to make sure, what I don't want our staff to feel like is send one, she sends another one, that says, not just, but I also walk by and saw the fence, there's a hole in the fence. He says one, there's a tree, one that comes over, now Rick is taking direction from 3 different people, where he can prioritize working through myself. Rick was really good about stuff like that, and we haven't had anything like that where my staff gets directed to provide information.
Not direction, like question.
But he might take it as a direct.
And I do see your point as well, and I think it's what your superintendent is comfortable with. I think I shared with you guys at our last workshop that I lived right across the street from one school, and then 2 others within like a couple of blocks, and there was one that they would graffiti all the time. And so this assistant soup just told me, just anytime you see graffiti on the wall, take a picture of it, text it to me, and then I'll take care of it. And so anytime, because he knew I walked the neighborhood a lot, or I would go to the track at one of the schools. So anytime I saw that there was graffiti, I'd just take a picture, text it to him, and then he would send a text to whoever was on duty at that time saying, hey, get over there to Hollingworth and clean up the graffiti. And our superintendent didn't have a problem with that because it was just about the graffiti, because it was a constant problem, and usually I was one of the first people to see it because it was across the street from my house. So that one, there was no problem with it. If there was something else like a pothole or something like that, I would probably take a picture of it and send it to our superintendent and say, hey, did you guys know about this? Or somebody's going to get hurt. I don't want to get sued. Can we take care of this? And so, but it's a communication and a comfort thing of, what your superintendent feels works best for the staff and what the staff also feels works best for them so that they do their job effectively. And so he's indicated that the staff prefers that the direction comes from him because then they know what's priority. Because if they're working on something else, then they know, hey, I don't have to stop and then address what the trustee asked me to do. So anything else under request for information? We're good? Okay.
I think we're good, Jackie.
And you guys know that if I'm not around, I'm there to pick up the phone. Yeah, she'll find me. Yeah, she'll find me.
Typically, I call Aaron first, because then
And then the new idea one, there's actually a board bylaw on that, 9322, that talks about that. So these are pretty basic. Any questions or concerns about those? And I'm pretty sure that if you guys have an idea, you talk to your superintendent about it during your one-on-one. That's what we did. Are you guys okay with that one?
I have heard from my colleagues about the grandstanding. Yeah, so I want to do it. I'll leave people behind them. Grandstanding for the wrong purpose, right?
Uh-huh.
So I'm glad that that's in there.
Any concerns? Visiting schools, I know we talked a little bit about this earlier. Were there any of the things that I listed here that were concerns for any of you?
You do a great job of letting me know when they're on campus. The hard part, is when you are part of another organization, and you're on campus. I know once a board member, you're always a board member, at least. Fine line of walking on campus, that Starwood serves as an eagle. It's the foundation. I don't need to know every single time she's there working as a volunteer there, on a visit.
Right.
Or having a conversation with the principal. She does a great job. Jerry does a great job of letting me know, hey, I'm going to stop by and visit. Principals do a good job of you afterwards. Hey, this is what we talked about. Not because they just want to make sure that we have clear communication.
Absolutely.
Right? And that's really the key. The board does a great job, and I know that they don't tell me that they're going to be there, but there have been events where Jason's popped in, Rody popped in, and there are these spelling bee events that I might not be a part of because I was out of town that time. They're at these events, and I'll get colleagues, right? I said, hey, both board members are here. It's great to have board member representation.
Yeah.
So I think the hard thing is when you are a parent. You have three of them that are parents when they start coming on campus because they want to be that parent. People don't see them that way all the time. Probably always asking me, "Sorry, what about this? What about that?" Right?
Well, I think the issue also with COVID, parents were allowed on. There were a lot of events that I could attend as a board. I didn't
And
wanna.
that's very commendable of you.
So they say, you can go in. I'm like, no, I'm not going in because I'm going in as a parent.
Right. Very commendable of you. And
sorry.
Don't
The
know.
hard part is, at one point I was dropping off my daughter at school. I got kind of caught up, I was there as a parent, but then I get caught in situations. They're looking at you as a, you know, as a board member, or, it kind of, it felt like into, it felt like a surprise visit, right? But it was just me dropping off my kids, and, because that's what I perceived
Right.
to be in that moment.
And and remember, I think we talked about this the last time when I was here in November. Don't be afraid to tell them, I am here as a parent right now. If you want to talk to me about anything specifically related to, business of the district, please shoot me an email and I can have a conversation with you at another time. Don't feel bad about doing that. They can get mad or whatever, but do not feel bad about doing that, because you're doing the right thing by separating that role. And remember, I told you I have shirts. I have my cheer mom shirt on. Don't talk to me. Cheer mom, that's what I'm here for. I have my ASB shirt on. ASB mom time, choir mom time, baseball mom time, whatever it was. I made it very clear, not going to engage with you. My kids expect me to still be mom. And it took a while with some people. Some people respected it right from the start, and we're very happy that, you know, I set the boundary. Other people, they wanted to push, walk away, say, I'm sorry, you know, I'm going to go see what my child is doing, and feel free to walk away. Just be very respectful, say, I'm sorry, I need to hear from my child today, so I'm going to go see what my child is doing. You can email me, and leave. And do not feel bad about doing it. And if they get upset, that's on them, because you guys are still parents, and your children have deserved to have you there for them and attentive to them. So don't feel bad. Make T-shirts. Find someone who has one of those cricket things and make them for you. So anything under visiting schools that you guys need, I think is very clear, very basic. Okay. So concerns, this is a big one. So I put a lot there. So did you guys look at that, and did you have any questions or concerns about what I put under there? And I put the CSBA mantra as the 6 R's there, because I think that's easy for any new person coming on the board to understand, even if they haven't gone through the full training, governance training. You okay? Okay. Trustee Chomp? And media relations, I don't know what your process is, so I put in, you know, what we recommend, but please tell me if there's something here that needs to be changed.
We've had a couple of these things that we've had, and the board as well, but we have an outside agency that works with us, write press releases, write anything about the concern in the community.
Right.
They see it before it goes out to the community. Well informed of what's happening.
So are you guys okay with the bullets that we have there? Okay. And official board correspondence, there is a bylaw on that, Board Bylaw 9122. Any other questions on the second one? No? And then vacancies on the board. There's, you know, state law about that.
Now, is it, so we've had to do this before, where we've had there's two different options. It can actually be a point, or it can actually be an election. I guess my question is it really the Los Angeles County Register of Voters? Or is
Well,
that-
yours would be Orange
Orange
County.
County,
I'm
okay.
sorry.
You
Did
have
I?
the least success.
Oh, okay.
The old version.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I was like, did I change that?
You did.
Okay.
Yeah. Everything else, yeah, sounds.
And then orientation for school board candidates, do you guys conduct one of those?
We have not, again, this is my first round. We had 3 people, yeah, we actually did, I think, consider that the first time I met with you guys. We brought it in on that Saturday. We talked about, yeah,
Special meeting.
that meeting where we had that, yeah. That was, last time around, it was ran by themselves.
And you know, you're also, allowed to have an information session.
Right.
That's not a meeting. And, like when we did ours in our district, it was usually the superintendent and board president. And we would just talk to people and say, so this is what being a board member is, and this is what it isn't, and here's my perspective. Because again, as we were talking at the beginning of this workshop, a lot of people don't know what goes into being a board member. They think it's ribbon cutting and coming to a meeting once a month and you're good. So, yeah. And then, and then welcoming new board members. I just put in some of the things based upon past experience, based upon my working with boards and hearing some things that new board members have said that they wish they had or they wish they knew. Is there anything that you think I missed or that?
Report.
Mm,
I thought that was like really good. It caught me up
Where you were?
where, yeah.
That's great.
And I know that, some of the board have also asked for meetings with Rick Colash, I think.
I requested one.
So to go a little more in depth about the budget, understanding budget
Oh, yeah.
codes,
Oh, yeah.
you know, all the different pieces.
So we're good on that one? Okay, and then, so like I said, then there's the signature page. So just really quickly, let's just recap real quick. And this will catch you up too, Trustee Chung. So on page number 1, there was no changes. On page number 2, that's the table of contents. I'll put that in. On page number 3, there were several changes. Aaron captured them all. Mostly just positive things about admin programs and services that weren't previously listed, such as the college credit courses and the virtual classes remaining still in the social and emotional well-being, learning and well-being. I'm going to put the basic definition of governance under governance and remove the quote on page 4. And then the unity of purpose, you got it. You captured it. On page 4. Page 4. There we go.
Respect and appreciation of all voices while communicating a common vision in the best interest.
Trustee Chong, are you good with that?
Yeah.
Okay. So, and page 5 is just basic, 6 was the filler.
I had a question.
Oh, sorry.
And I know it's on our, on the website. I was just looking at the, page 5, the vision. It says providing ambition and innovative curriculum and instruction. Is it supposed to be ambitious?
Oh,
Yeah.
probably. Which,
Under
Yeah.
vision?
sorry.
Yeah, the second bullet.
Yeah, you went in there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay,
I'm glad you caught that.
yeah, we said it's on the website, don't look at it, and then I looked at my notes.
No, I'm
Oh, wait
glad
a
you
minute,
looked at it. Okay, so then on page 7, we were okay, and okay. We did, do we make changes on the, no, we didn't. I circled them because there were questions. Page 8, we were okay on accountability, okay on, competence. We did make one change, down at the bottom, the next to the last, on ethics and integrity. We did change the wording to the, one of the middle ones that previously said we do nothing to blindside fellow governance team members. We changed that one. We shortened the one following that. We do not disclose confidential information acquired during a closed session, period. We changed rumor mongering to hearsay. In solidarity, how the board communicates and support, respect, and consideration were all okay. During board meetings was okay, but we did add will remain attentive and engaged throughout the meeting. Gatherings and communications, we were, yeah, no falling asleep for the superintendent either. And gatherings and communications, we were okay. Agenda prep, we were okay, but we did make a change to the last bullet, to shorten it, and to give clarification that we added in the no less than 10 days before, and we all discussed that. Board meeting preparation and attendance, we changed the last bullet, because we thought that one was a little too confusing. Planning special board meetings, we took out the second bullet, right? Or we changed it? We changed, that's the one we changed, to special board meeting, okay. Role of the president was okay, request for information, okay, new ideas, okay, visiting schools, okay, concerns, complaints, okay, media, okay, board correspondence, okay, vacancies, orientation, welcoming new board members, all okay. So at this point, let me know, and you can bring back up my PowerPoint, please, to the next slide. At this point, here's what I need to know from you guys. We'll make the final changes, and we can send them to you again for just the review to make sure that that's what we said. And if there's information that you say, no, that's not what we said, or no, you know, Angelina, you said that wrong to Aaron, then what we can do is we can adjust it. Or if you guys are confident that those are the changes that we've made and you guys are okay with those, then what I can do is I can get some pictures from Aaron, some better pictures of the board from Aaron, and then I can go ahead and make it look pretty and do the table of contents and all that good stuff, and then get it back to you guys. And then at that point, you would, again, put it on your agenda for one of your board meetings, and you guys would adopt it, and then everyone would sign the signature page on the night that it was adopted. Are you guys okay with that process?
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, okay, I forgot. We have a trustee that's not here.
So
So do
we
we-
would have put on next Friday report?
We could, and if you wanted her to see, I was trying to do like new stuff in red, and so she could really capture what we changed.
Okay, then, so before you send it to me to do my thing, show it to her first,
Okay,
because you have, like you said, stuff in red and everything, and I don't want to change it completely. And then after she says, yeah, I'm fine with that, or ask questions of the superintendent or board president about anything she had a question about that we changed, and it's good, then send it to me, and
Okay.
then I'll do what I need to do.
okay.
Okay, so we're all good with that?
And so then after, I'll run it by Irene, she's good, I'll send it to the board, and once the board agrees, then we'll put it on the agenda.
Yeah.
We don't have to agree, we just send it to vote on it.
Agree that the changes are what?
What we came up with here tonight, that I didn't go back and say, I don't like what they said, I'm gonna change this back. So.
Okay.
So, and then the final slide, I always, we're big on using the slides of our real children, and no, those are not all my children. Only the ones in the middle are my kids, but just a reminder of why we do what we do. I ended up running for school board because of my kids, the two in the middle. And I don't regret it for 1 minute, because I knew that I made a difference in the district where they were students and in the community where I lived. And like I said, with all of their friends, I made a difference. And, the other ones are my great nieces and nephews. And when I got sworn in for my second term, Carter, the one in the corner sitting on the wall there, he stood with me as I got sworn in. He's my great nephew, just because I wanted him to know, Cameron and Mariko are gone now, but I'm doing this now for you. And even one day you might do this for your kids or the neighborhood kids in your area. But just to show them why we do it. And I'm sure that you guys all talk to your kids and family members and explain to them, because sometimes they don't understand, especially family, when you say, no, I can't be there, I have to go to a meeting, I have a board function. But it's important. It's important. And just remind them, say, hey, you have kids right here. This is why I'm doing what I do. It's important. So I thank you guys for your hard work. I thank you for your time and commitment to doing this governance handbook. I think you're going to find it very beneficial. And just remember, it is a living document. So please, please, please review it and make changes as needed. Any other questions for me? All righty. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Yeah, I look forward to working with you guys again one day. It's nice to work close to home.
So once again, I want to thank Ms. Angelina Pratt for being here tonight. Thank you for being out here. I found this to be a very successful study session for our board. And I'll speak for myself personally. I was able to take a lot from it just by doing the session. But I think overall, I think it was, in my opinion, very successful. So thank you very much for being out here, taking the time to do this session with us. So now it's just adjournment to have a motion. Thank you, Ms. Amon.
I'll second.
Thank you, Ms. Shedd. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, and I'm an aye, motion passes 3-0. Meeting adjourned at 7:20.
So,
I'm sorry, correction, it's gonna be 4-0-1. Because Irene's not here. Sorry, Mr. Chong, forgot you showed up.
I agree.
thank you.
Thank you.
7:23.